one weird night where we both didn't really feel like going out. We did, and you wouldn't go home.
Can you cool it over there? This is a professional place. I'm trying to do my thing.
I was just trying to make sure that I didn't have a shadow in my face.
Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Blue Box 29, Jane and Mark. And today is February 2nd, so we are in our second month, season 2 of our healing year, our healing journey for year 1 of the 9-year cycle. This year is all about embracing it full force. So we're not going to do this every year. We're just doing our one thing the first year of the 9-year cycle, and then every year after will be something different.
Yeah.
So we're getting the long one out of the way now. We are on February, the month of sacred bonds, the beloved and the binder, and we're on week 1, the awakening of love. Like we said, February is all about the love, love, love. Yesterday was the spark, and today is the recognition. Our theme is that soul remembers soul. Recognition, soul remembers soul. And the 4 stories we're going to use to showcase that today are Chinese, Norse, Persian, and Yoruba stories. So enjoy these, and we'll see you after that. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1, The Red Thread of Fate. In Chinese tradition, recognition is not chance, it is remembrance. Souls do not wander blindly into one another. They are guided, drawn together by a bond that exists before sight, before speech, before choice itself. Long before 2 people meet, a red thread is tied. This thread is invisible to the eye, but unbreakable by time, distance, or circumstance. It may stretch, it may tangle, it may knot itself in suffering or delay, but it does not sever. The one who ties this thread is Yue Lao, the old man under the moon. Yue Lao does not arrange meetings with romance in mind. He works with fate, not fantasy. His task is not to promise ease, but inevitability. It is said that once a young man traveling along a mountain road encountered an old figure reading by moonlight. The man asked what he was studying so late at night. Yue Lao replied calmly, "The Book of Marriages." Curious, the young man asked who he was destined to marry. The old man pointed toward a poor child playing nearby and said, "Her." The young man laughed. The child was filthy, uneducated, far beneath him in status. Insulted by the suggestion, he ordered his servant to frighten her away. In the chaos, the child fell and struck her head, leaving a scar. Years passed. The man rose in rank. Eventually, his family arranged a prestigious marriage for him. On his wedding night, he lifted his bride's veil. And there, above her brow, was a faint scar. Recognition struck like lightning. This is the heart of the story. Recognition is not discovery. It is remembering something the soul already knows. In other tellings, the red thread is said to bind ankles. In later versions, fingers. The location changes, but the meaning does not. What is bound will find its way toward itself. The thread does not guarantee happiness. Many who are bound resist one another. Some hurt one another deeply before understanding what they share. Others meet late, after lives half lived in longing they could never name. But when recognition occurs, it carries a distinct feeling. Not excitement alone, not attraction alone. A quiet certainty. The sense of something familiar without memory. The feeling that the present moment has been rehearsed somewhere beyond time. In Chinese folklore, recognition is not portrayed as dramatic reunion. It is subtle. It is often inconvenient. It may even feel unwelcome at first, but once felt, it cannot be unfelt. The soul remembers. The red thread tightens, not to bind, but to guide. Love, in this tradition, does not arrive to surprise. It arrives to remind. Story 2. Freyr recognizes Gerther. In Norse tradition, recognition does not arrive gently. It arrives as longing. It arrives as vision. It arrives with a cost. The gods of the North did not believe that love was safe. They believed it was powerful. Anything powerful demanded sacrifice. Freyr, god of fertility, peace, and prosperity, was beloved among the Aesir and the Vanir alike. When Freyr walked, the land grew generous. Crops rose, seasons turned in balance. His presence meant abundance, not excess. Freyr was not restless by nature, until the day he sat upon a high seat. Helitchialf was Odin's throne, a place from which all worlds could be seen. From this seat, one could look across the 9 worlds, witnessing events meant only for gods. It was not a place to be taken lightly, but Freyr sat there. And from that height, the gaze fell upon Jotunheimer, the land of the giants. There he saw her. Gerther stood within her father's halls, her arms raised as she opened a door. Light caught her skin, and in that instant, Freyr felt something tear open inside his chest. This was not desire alone. This was recognition. The world narrowed to a single presence. The land Freyr ruled no longer held color. The halls of the gods felt hollow. He could not eat. He could not speak. He could not explain what had happened, only that something essential had been revealed and immediately taken out of reach. Freyr had seen Gerther only once, and it was enough. In Norse stories, to see is not neutral. Vision carries consequence. To recognize another soul is to bind yourself to its absence until that bond is answered. Freyr withdrew from the world, his joy dimmed. The field he once blessed grew quietly. Those who loved him feared that something had gone terribly wrong. At last, his servant, Skirnir, pressed him to speak. Freyr confessed what he had seen. Gerther was a giantess. She lived among those often opposed to the gods. She was unreachable by ordinary means, and yet Freyr knew with a certainty that frightened him that his life could not continue without her. Recognition had occurred, and recognition demands action. Freyr made a choice that no god of abundance should make lightly. He gave Skirnir his sword. This was no ordinary weapon. It fought on its own. It ensured victory. It was Freyr's protection against chaos and destruction. He surrendered it without hesitation. In Norse myth, this matters deeply. Freyr gave away not only a weapon, but his future safety. He chose love over defense, longing over certainty. Skirnir traveled to Jotunheimer and found Gerther. He spoke to her first with gifts. When she refused, he spoke with threats. Not all recognition is mutual at first. Some souls resist what they feel, especially when it disrupts their worlds. At last, Gerther agreed to meet Freyr. Not immediately, in 9 nights. 9 is a sacred number in Norse cosmology. It is the number of completion through trial, the number of worlds, the number of nights Odin hung upon the tree to gain wisdom. Freyr waited. Each night stretched longer than the last, but he did not regret his choice. Recognition does not negotiate. Once the soul knows, it accepts the cost. When Gurthur finally came, their meeting restored balance. The land responded. Fertility returned. Peace followed. Yet something remained unresolved. Freyr no longer had his sword, and in the end, that choice would matter. At Ragnarok, the final battle, Freyr would face Surtur without his weapon. He would fall. Love had not saved him from death. But Norse tradition does not frame this as failure. Freyr recognized Gurthur. He chose connection over survival. He chose meaning over preservation. In a world where everything ends, what matters is not how long one stands, but what one stands for. Story 3. Layla and Majnun. In Persian tradition, recognition does not lead to union. It leads to devotion. Love is not measured by fulfillment, but by faithfulness to what has been seen and cannot be unseen. Layla and Kayes, later called Majnun, meaning the mad one, met as children. They studied together, reciting poetry and sculpture, learning letters that shaped both language and longing. Their affection grew quietly, naturally, without declaration. And then it was noticed. In Persian society, love that appears too openly invites scrutiny. What begins as connection becomes reputation. What is felt privately becomes judged publicly. When Kayes spoke Layla's name too freely, when poetry slipped from discipline into devotion, the elders intervened. Layla was withdrawn from school. The separation was immediate and final. But recognition does not require proximity. Kayes unraveled. He wandered the desert, composing verses to Layla's name, speaking to animals as companions, abandoning the customs of society. People called him Majnun, the madman, because madness was the only explanation they could tolerate for devotion that refused correction. Yet, Majnun did not believe himself broken. He believed himself faithful. Layla was married to another man, as customs required. She lived in comfort, protected by walls and rules. Outwardly, she obeyed. Inwardly, her soul remained bound to what it had first recognized. This is crucial to the story. Layla does not chase Majnun. Majnun does not reclaim Layla. Their love exists in parallel, not pursuit. When Majnun was brought before Layla's family and offered wealth if he would forget her, he refused. When told he could pray for healing, he declined. He did not wish to be cured of recognition. Majnun did not love Layla as a possession. He loved her as a truth. In time, Layla and Majnun were allowed to meet, briefly, under supervision. Majnun stood before her, but did not touch her. When asked why, he replied that the Layla he loved lived not in form, but in essence. To touch her would reduce what was infinite. Layla wept, not because she was unloved, but because she was recognized too completely. Majnun returned to the wilderness. His poetry spread across the region, verses carrying Layla's name like prayer. People repeated his words without understanding them, the way sacred language is often repeated long before it is understood. Layla fell ill. When she died, Majnun came to her grave. He lay beside it, reciting poetry until his body failed. He died there, faithful to the end. In Persian tradition, this is not a tragedy. It is fulfillment. Layla and Majnun are not remembered as lovers denied happiness. They are remembered as souls who recognize one another beyond the distortions of the world. Love did not arrive to be completed. It arrived to be witnessed. Story 4. Oshun and the One Who Knows Her Name. In Yoruba tradition, recognition is not sudden. It is earned. Love does not arrive by force or conquest. It arrives through attention, patience, and the ability to see what others overlook. Oshun is the Orisha of fresh water, sweetness, beauty, fertility, and love. She is laughter and sorrow, adornment and depth. Where her rivers flow, life follows. Where she withdraws, nothing thrives. But Oshun is often misunderstood. Those who see only her beauty believe she exists to please. Those who hear only her laughter assume she is light. Yet Oshun is ancient power. She governs intimacy, creation, and the unseen bonds that hold communities together. In the earliest days, when the Orishas gathered to shape the world, Oshun was present, and she was ignored. The male Orishas believed they could build creation without her. They planned, argued, and acted, dismissing Oshun as ornamental rather than essential. Rivers were redirected, land was divided, laws were spoken. But nothing worked. Crops failed, children were not born. The earth remained dry and unresponsive. No matter how forcefully the Orishas commanded the world to grow, it resisted them. They did not recognize what was missing. Oshun withdrew to her river. And with her withdrawal, sweetness left the world. At last, the Orishas sought counsel. They turned to Orunmila, Orisha of wisdom and divination, keeper of Ifa, the sacred system that reveals destiny and truth. Orunmila cast the Opeli chain. He listened, and he spoke. You have failed because you do not recognize Oshun. The words were not accusation, they were clarity. Without Oshun, creation could not bind. Without sweetness, life cannot sustain itself. Without love, power becomes hollow. The Orishas returned to Oshun's river. They did not command her, they did not summon her. They came humbly, offering gifts, songs, and acknowledgement. Oshun listened, but she did not immediately return. Recognition in Yoruba tradition is not apology alone, it is change. Only when Oshun saw that she was truly seen, not as decoration but as force, did she rise from the water. When she rejoined the work of creation, life flowed again. Rivers filled, crops grew, children were born. From that moment forward, Oshun's presence was no longer optional. In some tellings, Oshun's deepest recognition comes through Orunmila, where others see Oshun's beauty. Orunmila sees her destiny. Where others desire her sweetness, he honors her depth. Their bond is not conquest or possession, it is alignment. Orunmila does not claim Oshun, he consults her. Oshun does not diminish himself for him. She expands what is possible with him. They recognize one another as essential. In Yoruba cosmology, destiny is chosen before birth. Souls agree to paths that they will later forget. Recognition, then, is not meeting someone new. It is remembering who was already written into your becoming. Oshun does not offer herself to those who do not know her worth. She unfolds her sweetness until respect is restored. When she is recognized, she gives abundance freely. Love, in this tradition, is not desperate. It is discerning. Recognition is the moment when power meets reverence, when destiny is honored rather than demanded. Oshun teaches that to be truly seen is not to be admired, but to be included in the shaping of the world. Love did not arrive loudly. It arrived when someone finally knew her name. Hey everybody, welcome back in. Hope you enjoyed those 4 stories. It's all about love is in the air. So today is the recognition of week 1, the awakening of love. The theme is that soul remembers soul. Our daily thread is that across these cultures, recognition is not discovery but remembrance. The red thread binds souls long before they meet. Freyr knows Gerther through vision and accepts the cost of seeing. Majun recognizes Layla beyond former possession. Oshun withholds sweetness until she is truly seen. Each story teaches that recognition carries responsibility. To recognize another is to accept what must change in oneself. Love endures only when it is honored. Our lesson is that some connections are older than this life.
Right.
Some connections are older than this life.
I've heard someone say that before.
Some connections are older than this life. Story 1, the red thread of fate. We've seen this one. We saw this in January, and it was when he was denying his future. This one,
Yeah, it read differently.
It did. We never knew why he was disgusted by it. We thought it was because she was younger. She was like a baby.
Yeah,
when he saw her, but it was because she was a peasant. It was her standing. or just because she was filthy, so he assumed she was.
Right. She might not have been.
And clearly she wasn't, because if it was a prestigious wedding, the red thread of fate is not a promise of ease or romance. It is a reminder that some connections predate this lifetime. Recognition is not choosing someone new, but remembering someone already known.
Mm-hmm.
That's this one too. We heard the last time that we saw the red thread of fate was that it's there, but it's your choice to commit. So it's also part of that commitment to it. It doesn't guarantee or promise you that it's going to make everything perfect, or that because that thread is there, that your marriage, your partnership, your love is going to be.
No, it was meant to happen it's meant to happen for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So let it happen. Let it happen for as long as it needs to happen.
That, but also you can't just expect that to be enough. Put in the
exactly
effort. It says right in that story, the red thread tightens not to bind, but to guide. It arrives to remind you. So love arrives to remind you, not to surprise.
I think we had our red thread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the red thread is just inevitability that your paths are intertwined, whether you choose it or not. And this was, yes, it was an arranged marriage, but the chances that they met before at that time, all of it.
Right.
It was the other day, the end of January, we heard that Freyr, walking into Ragnarok, did not have his sword, his self-fighting sword, his magical sword. And we knew he gave it up for love. A couple days later, we finally get to see what that love was. It was very beautiful that the idea was what he saw couldn't be unseen. He recognized, like his heart recognized, his soul recognized her. After he recognized her, he chose connection over survival, and he chose meaning over preservation. That idea of quality over quantity. And just, at least he had something before the end. Like it said, that love didn't save him, but it was better to have had it for a time than to not have had it at all.
And that's the biggest thing, is especially at the end, like to embrace and to say, at least I had you at the end to say goodbye to.
And I don't think,
never having you.
I don't think that's selfish at all. Like me, as someone that would lose them, I would still have wanted you.
Right.
Than to have wondered. I would love and lose.
Rather than to never.
Than to just not have you at all. To not recognize it at all. The ending of that story. Freyr's a god. It's so interesting to see the different dynamics of different folklores and the way deities behave.
Yeah.
Freyr's a god and a tough, Norse god. And the very end, he understood that in a world where everything ends, it's not how long you stand, but what you stand for.
Right.
And he stood in his choice, knowing like the weapon was what he sacrificed. He knew that would be his end. One way or another, not having his weapon would be his end. But better to live a short life, knowing you, than to live a long life empty. Longing. We said we were going to talk about a bunch of stuff and kind of grow as a couple. So this story was hard for me to hear. I feel like I've felt this love before.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't meant for this lifetime. And yeah, when I was reading this one, I had a hard time kind of getting through it. It was like vibrating my bones. And then when we listened back to it, I felt it again.
Yeah.
And it was that idea that it didn't require the touch. And let me find where it said it. Yeah, when Majnun stood before her but did not touch her. When asked why, he replied that the Layla he loved lived not in form but in essence. That's the love that I felt before.
Mm.
And it wasn't obviously like what we have, you know, very different than what we have, because it was not one that would go anywhere. It just was, it was for a limited time, but it was never, we never even touched.
Mm.
You know, that's what it was. It was mainly an energy thing. But this story reminds us that not all love is meant for this lifetime, the lifetime that we're in, I think. And that doesn't mean we regret it or anything. So Majun's devotion is not insanity, but transcendence. Recognition of the beloved becomes recognition of the divine. Love is not meant to resolve the world, but to reveal what lies beyond it. I think that when we encounter a temporary loves that you just wish they would have gone longer, but if they would have, they wouldn't have been, you know, as meaningful, or they would have been disastrous or messy or whatever. But the ones that were beautiful in their own way show us more of what God or what the divine wants, to recognize love in its vast forms, in its painful forms. And to love is to lose a lot of the time, because you gain so much having loved it, but you also need to know when to release it. It's not about possession.
Right.
It's not about winning or conquering. Sometimes it's about loving it and letting it go. And that's what this one was. I mean, she was married off and they may have wanted to be together, but
they respected the fact that they couldn't as well, though.
And he definitely did. He held that line firm because he knew to cross it, it'd be messy.
Yeah.
So I would rather it be what it was. I loved you in essence. These bodies, they don't love each other. Yeah, they won't get to love each other. But in essence, some people, they go live independently. Like that really is a choice they make. Is that was it? Or I don't want this.
By doing that, like if they're truly meant to be with somebody, something's going to happen they just got to be open to the idea of once it hits them in the face. Because you can get steered down the road as much as you want, but if you don't,
that's true.
You know, just like the whole you can lead a horse to water.
And there's so much beyond this life.
Right.
And we do love all, I think, when we go.
How fun is it going to be, though, like for the ones that you missed, or then you'll remember too, on the other side, when you miss somebody?
Yeah.
Say whoever's watching this, they missed their person, and you get over there on the other side, and their person is like, dude, what the heck? I was like right there, like telling you. Like I was, hey, it's me. Just like it turns into a big joke, because by then you don't, I mean, it doesn't matter at that point.
Right.
You know? Too little, too late.
Wonder if we even remember this stuff, though.
I'm sure it's a big fun game to us, because we like to, like, that's why we're here, to experience love in different forms. And we're here to experience everything, just so we can go back and share that love and experience with everybody else. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't work, but when we're down here, this is fake to us when we're over there, I believe. So when we're over there, we don't care. Well, I'm sure we joke about it. Like, what are you doing over there?
The fourth story was all about the recognition is inseparable from respect. It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
It takes two to tango, and sometimes it does take someone from the outside telling you to turn around and involve the other person that's been there the whole time, or the person that's telling you You know, this is how it was. And I like how she didn't fight or battle or whine or anything. She just, I'm just going to go to the river then. I'm going to go to my river. And the story teaches that love and creation fall when essential voices are dismissed. So love fails in general when any voice that's involved is dismissed. Any voice that's involved is dismissed. True recognition restores balance, allowing sweetness, life, and destiny to flow again. To truly recognize someone. Recognize the good, the bad, but also recognize them honestly. Not who we perceive them as or who we want them to be, right, or who we believe they are with our perspectives. To recognize someone fully. You know, that's kind of where we're at. And that's what this one was. So, yeah. I love that someone came in and said, how about you just listen to her? This one was just all about alignment and balance. Yeah. And it's not desperate. Love is not desperate. It's discerning in this one. She wasn't desperate for them. She knew that the world wouldn't grow without her. It needed her touch. And that's what everyone else found out at the end, and that sometimes love is sitting there and we don't know it and we don't acknowledge it and we don't recognize it. And all it takes is for us to acknowledge the name, just like what it said at the end. Love wasn't arriving loudly. It wasn't screaming. It wasn't being chaotic. It arrived when someone finally knew its name and knew her name. I think that's a big thing all around us. All the chances we miss because we're wondering, well, what if, and we're scared and everything, and all that love that's out there, that if we had just named it. Yeah. Very different perspective on life. Right. And there are many different forms of love. Yeah. So it's the same thing as we could be surrounded by love if we just named it. Named it honestly. And to name love honestly, you must recognize what's being loved and what is loving honestly. Yeah, because think about how you feel personally and understand that the other person, if you haven't told them, they probably feel, a lot of the same type of feelings. And I'm not necessarily saying like love feelings for people, but scared to go up and talk to somebody when you're first meeting people. This is the month of love, so why not? Right, why not? If you don't have something, make it happen, Captain. Because they could be nervous too, but there could be a reason you're standing in front of that person, and it could be that string that pulled you together. Think about it, like, man, I didn't even want to come here today, but then there she or he is. There they are, right there in front of you. And maybe it's not the first time you had seen them, but it's the first time you really noticed them. Yeah, the first time that you recognize them. And recognition isn't always both are recognized at the same time like that. Yeah. The Norse one said, Arthur didn't recognize Freya right away. I felt like that's kind of how we were. Yeah, like I had seen you for years. I mean, you had even like thrown an event at my parents' house, like for my older sister. Helped do that. But then we played slow pitch like on opposing teams. Yeah, and just never really even. And I don't know if you ever recognized me, but your friends did. And I recognized a couple of them. Like it was like 4 or 5 years, I think, from when I first saw you. That you actually recognized me. Probably longer, honestly. But yeah. Yeah, at least. And then just that one weird night where we both didn't really feel like going out. We did, and you wouldn't go home. Did it work? Sometimes all we need is to be acknowledged, I think. I think all that's what this one is. Love. But to be recognized. Yeah. In different ways, I think sometimes when we get exhausted, all we need is a little bit of recognition. Right. And so this is reminding us to recognize our partners, our spouses. It's not a one-time thing. I recognize you, I got you, now that's it. Because to keep something, you have to keep recognizing it, you know? That's not to say that if I'm not fanning over you and loving on you 24/7, you're off doing whatever.
Right.
But it does mean that we're in each other's presence.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I really think it's hard. Like February is the month of love and it's beginning of the year. But January, and February is the time that people get like drop their goals. They drop their New Year's resolutions. And we're sitting here in the month of love where we're feeling defeated. And so if you're watching this and you have a partner, if you have a crush, or even just for yourself, like just recognize the love. Recognize the love you have for a family or a friend or anything. Because it is important that we recognize each other and ourselves. Like I'm so over being too cool to acknowledge people. I don't want that. I want like cheerleaders. And I want to be someone's cheerleader. The lesson that some connections are older than this life. It'd be interesting if, like the Persian story, what if that love was the next life? What if it wasn't just a past life? Like we can love each other beyond one life, but there are some lives that we can't touch. Like it's not meant for us, but it's just a blip.
Yeah, because you're meant to go learn something and do something, and it's like,
and then meet back.
I don't have time for your shenanigans because I know you. You're a little shiphead. We can't do this. Yeah, talking to you.
The cow
like,
again.
Freaking cow. It's like I'm just licking its
heifer.
boogers. Freaking heifers.
But yeah, that it's maybe we have that spark and I know them from something. Our reflection question today, or who or what has felt familiar without reason? So who or what has felt familiar without reason? This doesn't mean that we assume or we force our own illusions or something on people. This is that energetic feeling of I've met you before. Not this body, maybe, but the soul, what's behind the eyes, what's in the eyes. I've met that before. I felt that with several different people, and it's not always the good type of feeling. I've met you before. Sometimes run into people and you just feel like, oh, I feel like we really hurt each other before. Or I did not like you for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's just the opposite energy.
So today is another mirror activity. So we had mirror activity in January. Healing does require those, but today we're recognizing ourselves. So we're just going to gaze at our reflection for 1 minute quietly. So we're just going to gaze at our reflection for a full minute without judgment. We're just going to recognize ourselves for that full minute. And remember that recognition is remembrance, awakening in the present. So just remembering yourself, remembering your soul, remembering your feelings. Today was all about the recognition. We're going to stare in the mirror. We're going to recognize ourselves, and we're trying to be kind of serious with it. We're not joking around, or we're just recognizing ourselves for who we are without the show, without the facade, and then think of who or what has felt familiar without reason. And I said it's also what. You know, recognition is remembrance, awakening in the present. That is our day for February 2nd, week 1, awakening of love. So yesterday was all about the spark. Today was about the awakening. And tomorrow we step into the longing. I'm excited about that, simply just to show the longing picture we have in our book, The Pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Because I do still think it's one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
Is the way that we visualized longing. So you guys actually will get a sneak peek of our book tomorrow, February 3rd. You will get a glimpse of an image in our book, one of our favorite ones. We will also have a back a little bit of a extra footage that day where we can maybe talk about that image and stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll be posted on the Inside the Blue Box 29 page.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, join us tomorrow, though, if you want to see that for February 3rd. Anyways, go ahead and recognize yourself and remember that soul remembers soul. So thanks for joining us today on Folklore and Flourish, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys. Love you. Thank you.
Thank you for walking this journey with me today. These stories are more than folklore. They are the heartbeat of our world building, the inspiration behind our characters, and the soul of the Legends Reborn Chronicles. By exploring these tales, we honor the past, ignite the present, and breathe life into the legends we're creating together. To see more of Mark and I, as well as additional scenes, discussions, and healing, check the links below that will lead you to our various social media platforms. Please also feel free to ask any questions or leave any comments in the episode below or in future episodes to come. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, may your path be guided by wonder, curiosity, and the magic of the stories that came before us. Blessings, and I'll see you on our next folklore journey.